Sad news in the Chiefs kingdom on Wednesday morning. Len Dawson, the quarterback and so much more for so many years with the Kansas City Chiefs, passed away. He was 87 years old. I think the news is really hitting hard for a lot of people in Kansas City, a lot of people outside of Kansas City who associated themselves either with the Chiefs or with pro football in general. There are few people who impacted the game of football more who weren't an owner than Len Dawson. He played 18 seasons in pro football, started in the NFL with the Steelers and the Browns, went to the American Football League with the Dallas Texans for a year, won a championship there in 1962 before the Chiefs came to be in 1963, having moved from Dallas. And all Len Dawson did from there is with two more AFL titles, led his team to Super Bowl I, won Super Bowl IV, was a Super Bowl IV MVP, was a seven-time Pro Bowler, two-time first-team All-Pro. He was a two-time second-team All-Pro. His numbers retired in Kansas City. He was the NFL Man of the Year in 1973, which I'm guessing probably ranked among his favorite accomplishments, his most revered accomplishments, because it spoke to the man that he was and not just the player he was on the field. There are plenty of great football players. There are far fewer great people. And Dawson, by all accounts, for anybody who ever met him, and I had the pleasure of communicating with him, I don't know, about 10 years ago, certainly lived up to his reputation around the league and around Kansas City as one of the nicest guys you could meet. It's funny when you look back on a career, it gets reduced down to numbers and accolades. Well, Len Dawson had something more than that. He had a gravitas about him. Sure, he was a great football player. He was a Hall of Famer, made in 1987. Sure, he was a champion. And as I mentioned before, made many, many Pro Bowls. But in Kansas City, he was a face you could set your clock to, literally. He was on the nightly news, working at KMBC over and over and over for years on end. He worked while he played. NFL Films put together a great documentary called America's Game. It's about the 1969 Kansas City Chiefs. He did one for every Super Bowl champion. They still do. And Len Dawson was one of the three men that was interviewed for that piece. And in it, they featured some of his work that he would practice and then run over to the news station, then come back and interview some of the players and get tape for that night's telecast. He took those skills and became one of the most known broadcasters in America. Worked on HBO's Inside the NFL for 25 seasons. Worked at NBC as a color analyst for AFC games in the 70s and the 80s. Also, and of course in Kansas City, maybe most notably, was the Chiefs color analyst from 1985 to 2017. It was a life well lived. And as Dawson put it in that America's Game episode, he was the seventh son of a seventh son. He thought it was luck. And maybe it was, because Len Dawson lived quite a life. There are not many people who can say that they left behind the legacy for more than maybe a few family members, close friends. Len Dawson left behind a legacy for millions. It's a rare person who's able to do that, who's able to make you feel something when you just hear their name. Maybe it brings back a memory, a conversation. Maybe it brings back a game that you watched with someone that you loved. Whatever it was, Len Dawson made you feel something, and by all accounts, it was always something good. And I think that is the legacy that means far more than just what happened on the field. A legacy on the field that I'm sure will lead to the Chiefs paying tribute to Dawson throughout this upcoming season, if not further on. But most importantly, Dawson left a legacy of who he was by how he lived. It's the rare person that is able to leave a legacy at all. And Len Dawson was such a rare person. Rest in peace, Len. You earned it.